everyone, I'm Rex and welcome back to another Train Sim Worlds speculation video. And in today's speculation video I'm going to be speculating on the possibility of Train Sim World 7, and if so, what UK DLCs I think we might get. This is going to be a fun little speculation video, nothing confirmed, so without further ado, let's get into the video. But first of all, before we get into the video, if you are new here, I am Rex and I cover Train Sim World 6 and in real life train spotting. I've been doing this now for over 3 years on YouTube, and I've been a fan of Train Sim World since Train Sim World 3, so I know quite a bit. My favourite diesel multiple unit is a 142, of course, very controversial, and my favourite route is the West Coast Mainline over Shap. I mean, it basically says on my profile stats, so I'm going with it. Okay, enough about me, let's speculate. So, we're going over to the UK route speculation idea 1. Starting with Newcastle to York and Middlesbrough, which will include LNER, cross-country and northern trains. So I talked on this last year, so I've decided to again. So this one will include the Tees Valley Line rolling stock as AI or drivable, depending. Will be set in 2019 for the best timetable experience. Will involve the already in-game Class 801. Will make use of the northern and cross-country licence that we've got, and can include part of the Tees Valley Line for added playability if possible. The distance is apparently 73 miles going off train line, and Northallerton to Middlesbrough is 19 miles. The total being 92 miles of track, give or take, and 11 stations, which includes both Newcastle, York and the line from Northallerton to Middlesbrough. So this one will be quite a busy route, I would say. So I talked about a possible extension to the East Coast Main Line last time when I did a speculation video, but I'm not too sure this will happen now. But we have a chance to possibly see some Trans-Pennine Express and cross-country. So where would this route go? So this route would start at York and would depart mostly northbound platforms for stations such as Thirsk, Northallerton, Darlington, Durham, Chester Street and Newcastle, including Yarm, Eaglescliffe, Thornaby and Middlesbrough. So why this route then? This route could build on what we already have with Tees Valley Line and really give the North East something to have, which is both mainline running and passenger freight based, especially with commuter services running to and from these local areas. So could they include the stretch to Doncaster? If they did, we could see a possibility of Leeds being linked up with a Leeds to Clifford Ups and Doncaster service. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. Though I feel this could be a separate and more built-up DLC that could focus primarily on this section, considering the fact that this area is a pretty nice track area anyways, so if this was given some focus as a different DLC, I reckon it could be really cool. So what rolling stock would we have? So because it's set in 2019, we would have as follows: the Class 801, the Class 142, the Class 156, which would be new, the Class 158, the Class 185, which would be new, / potentially, because, you know, we're getting a lot of trains on this. The Class 220 and the 221, so one from the Train Sim 6 Deluxe Loco, and new, because obviously we don't have the 221 yet. And of course, the 802 from Riviera Line and the 66-70 Freight. So what local DLC could we see then? Because obviously we've got to think about the Deluxe Edition on these type of things. So what could we get for the Deluxe Edition? So the local DLC for the Newcastle to York and Middlesbrough section would be the Class 91 plus MK4 and 82 DVT. Just as a note, I know this wouldn't go from Northallerton up to Middlesbrough, but this would mostly cover between York and Newcastle. So this would make sense for both routes, because obviously we have another East Coast Mainline route, which the LNER 801s fill in for, so it would be nice to actually have an Intercity 225 on those layers. Would run on the modern timetable as an evening service, would run on the 2019 timetable along with HSTs primarily. It has been mega requested for ages, so why not? Even I want one, so there we go. Will be for deluxe edition purchases and special edition purchases, and will go around about £15 to £20 probably if sold separately, and will come with a range of different liveries possibly. Would be either in Virgin East Coast or current LNER branding. Due to the time period being set in 2019, it probably would end up with debranded version with a LNER sticker on it, probably. And a nice change from running HSTs all the time, because obviously we need the Intercity 225. It's got to come at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, hopefully. So now we come to our honourable mentions, which I have 4 here, which is the Class 221, because obviously we got a 220, it didn't make sense. Got the Lumo 803. I didn't really think another 80 times would be classed as a deluxe loco by many. Grand Central Class 180, we don't have that yet, so... Oh, and of course, Trans-Pennine Express 185. The reason why I didn't put that as a deluxe loco is because it's only 3 carriages, and it'll only run on a tiny portion of this route, i.e. Middlesbrough to York. So, but of course, this doesn't necessarily mean there can't be layers in the future, though, so this is something we could look forward to. Okay, so this was the UK route speculation idea 1. Let's go over to UK route speculation idea 2. So before we get into this one, I will say this one's going to be in the north as well, because obviously we need some northern content. So I'm going to be talking about the Hope Valley Line or South Transpennine route, as you'll see on the map on the next slide. So this will include Hazel Grove and Marple as key stations, will include Northern and Transpennine Express, would branch off Manchester Airport commuter from Stockport, which is good, and would add a unique line into the game with incredible scenery, and would be a Transpennine and Northern route primarily, which is perfect, and will include cross-country in EMR as AI layers at Sheffield and also at Stockport as well, and may include freight, although I'm not 100% sure. So it's an interesting take on a route as it's 32 miles in length and takes between 49 minutes to over an hour to complete. So on the map it looks long, but it only takes that long to complete, which is interesting and would be a good place to introduce new stock from both companies. So on the next slide you'll see the Hope Valley Line or part of the South Transpennine route map, which shows you where it is in the UK and what you get with it. Okay, so where would this route go? So this route would depart Manchester Piccadilly, go via Stockport and branch off to Hazel Grove before rejoining the other lines it left at Manchester and Chinley before going to Hope and meeting up at Sheffield. The other line would be fully represented via Marple 2 between Ashbury's and Gorton would be represented but unlikely. It could be represented but unlikely, that's what I meant to say, because with you having like 3 branch offs and possibly 4 if you count Rose Hill, this could be quite a big route in terms of scenery and mileage, so you kind of want to see what's more feasible, type of thing. But why this route? So I feel both Transpennine and Northern stock is needed, so what a better place than the Hope Valley Line to include them. Incredibly scenic, and cutting along the South Transpennine route, it'll be the perfect route to counter Northern Transpennine. Obviously, a little bit of a running joke there because we've got Northern Transpennine in the route. But anyways, will we ever get the bit to Buxton? With this line being 32 miles in length and budget providing, this I would love to see. However, as well as what I said not too long ago, with this having so many branch offs, it could be difficult. So, what rolling stock could we have? So, for Northern side of things, we could have the Class 150, risking from Transport for Wales or GWR 150. We will have the Class 156, which is new, or the Class 195, which would also be new to the game. For Transpennine Express, we'd have the Class 185 only, I don't think any 802s run down there, although feel free to correct me if I am wrong, which would also be new to the game as well. And for East Midlands Railway, we'd have the Class 158, Midland Main Line, and Class 170, risking from Cross Country and West Midland Trains Pack. So what local DLC could we see? So the local DLC for Sheffield to Manchester via Hope Valley could be the Class 185 as a sort of a deluxe edition local. I know I said it, I didn't really think of it as much of a deluxe local for the East Coast Main Line, but for a route like this one, this would actually make more sense in a way, I think. So it's a new train from Transpennine Express into Trainsimworld, as obviously. Makes use of a Transpennine Express license if we have one or yet to get one, because I'm not too sure what the basis line for that one is. Allows for diesel operations on the Hope Valley, making it a nice change from IETs, and of course gives layers to Manchester Airport commuter for Redcar and Saltburn services as AI. And of course, just a train I've seen wanted a lot for a while, and I'm the same. So now we move on to the honourable mention side again. which we only just have one, which is the EMR class 170, which, to be fair, we've got a few 170s represented into the game, including a 171, so I couldn't really see that being a deluxe loco, personally. But anyways, that was my UK route speculation idea 2. We're going to be moving on to UK route speculation idea 3. So before I get into this one, I will say I don't know much about this area of the UK or what runs around there, so I've had to do a little bit of research. I'm hoping my research isn't outdated, but if it is, please do let me know. If I've missed out anything, also let me know. But my next speculation idea was the Cambridge line. So this will include Great Northern into Trenton World, would branch off from Hitchin, which links to the East Coast Main Line, and goes from Hitchin to Cambridge. Will include other train operating companies like Cross Country and Great Northern, and it covers a total of 23 miles and 15 chains and serves 10 stations in total. This also allows for connecting routes or further progression into Greater Anglia, or maybe the East Coast Main Line, who knows. Small route, yes, but it adds Great Northern in, which helps towards making an East Coast Main Line South route potentially one day, hopefully. And overall looks like a nice route to see, because obviously I've had to have a look at a few pictures, just to gather about what I was talking about. And from what I could see, it was really nice. So I managed to get a lovely picture of the Cambridge line, obviously off Wikipedia, because obviously they do some good details there. So where would this route go? This route would depart Hitchin and turn off the East Coast Main Line towards Cambridge, stopping at a few beautiful stations along the way. So why this route? I feel that we need to bridge into Greater Anglia territory in Trenton World. We don't have Greater Anglia in Trenton World yet, and this is something we're missing out on, I think. And this route could help us to do so, especially with the line, especially if the line was further extended. Like, for example, if we went further into Cambridge, we could even include London Liverpool Street and Norwich at some point, depending. Would we ever get the bit to Ely or Peterborough? With this line only being 23 miles, it would be great. We'll introduce Greater Anglia into the game, and not only that, route hopping at Peterborough, and of course, we could potentially get a Peterborough to Hitchin stretch, although we could just forward it all the way down to King's Cross and call it a day, couldn't we? Who knows? Anyways, what rolling stock would we have on this route? So I could only find 3, so if there's more or if these aren't right, let me know. For Great Northern, the Class 379, which would be new to Trenton World, and the Class 387 from the Brighton Main Line. Of course, from Thameslink Court, this will be the Class 700 from the South Eastern High Speed. This is all I was able to find, though. So what local DLC could we see, for Deluxe Edition holders, if this ever became a release route, which, bearing in mind, I don't think it will, but I was kind of running out of options when I was making this. Of course, there are other things that people have mentioned, but I kind of just wanted to go a little bit different. But anyways, the local DLC for this route could be the Class 379. So this train could be the Deluxe Loco, since the 387 runs in tandem with the 379 currently. I don't know if that's true or not. Would be a new Electrostar to the game, and wouldn't be much of a Deluxe Loco DLC though, which is, in my opinion, obviously. If we went from Peterborough and connected at Cambridge, the Deluxe Loco could be a Class 755 Flirt. I know a lot of people have been edging for this one, so this is why I'm kind of hoping this would actually get extended to Ely and Peterborough so that we could see these. Actual Greater Anglia stock, which would be more appealing in my opinion. To be fair though, I don't know if the Flirt's going to Peterborough, so I think you would have to maybe branch the other way as well, depending. But yeah, as I said, I don't really know much about this one, so you guys can just let me know if I'm right or wrong on this one. Of course, I couldn't find any honourable mentions, so I just put none on there. Okay, time for the best bit of today's video, which is where we're talking about the remaster speculation. So this is a route that I've been wanted remastered for absolutely ages since the first remaster came out, and we're talking about Tees Valley Line. So it's been my most wanted remastered route for ages now. Would be great to see just train stock on this route, and will give us a new timetable, better lighting, better graphics, and an improved scenario planner, hopefully. This line could include the line from Darlington to Bishop Auckland and possibly beyond, but the way that the last remasters have gone, it looks like they didn't build on the track of the route. So this is kind of a wish more than probably a reality, but we'll see, we'll see. So the route will also be set in 1989, correlating to its original release date, because obviously, why not? I don't think we'd have a modern version of this route, though, unfortunately. And we would see a variety of late 80s traction and plenty to do. So, where would this route go? So, this route would go from Saltburn to Darlington via Middlesbrough, and from Darlington to Bishop Auckland via Hyington, if we get that extended. So, why this route for a remaster? I personally love this line and I've travelled on it plenty of times. To see this line back when it was in the late 80s would be an absolute wish come true, obviously with better graphics and stuff like that, because obviously I can see it now, but like it'd be great if it was put in the Todd 4 lighting and such like that with all the proper stock that goes onto it and all that loss. And now that we have the Just Train stock, why not? So, could we possibly build on this remaster? Mostly no. Even asking for Darlington to Bishop Auckland is a wish, hopefully a reality one day. So, what rolling stock will we have on this? Oh, here we go. So, I think all of these would be drivable. Some of these would be AI layers only. I haven't really put out which ones would be AI or not. So we'd have the Class 143 Pacer, because during this time period they did run on the Tees Valley line. So this would be a new local DLC. We'd have the Class 101 from West Coast Mainline Overshop, the Class 47 again from Overshop, the HST built from the Great Western Express and Valenta engine sound set, if you could maybe get the Valenta sounds or maybe source them from AP or somewhere. It's a bit difficult with that one, but hopefully not impossible. You'd have the Class 31, which comes from the Tees Valley line, a Class 20 from the West Coast Mainline crew to Preston, or remastered Tees Valley 20 variant. The Class 37, remastered from the Tees Valley line, the Class 40, and the Class 45 from Northern Transpennine. These last two probably won't get remastered until their route, so then, that could be the next thing forward, maybe. So, would this remaster be accompanied with anything? Definitely a no, unfortunately. This route is too isolated for route hop capabilities, unless of course we get Newcastle to Middlesbrough and York, which then could add in route hopping capabilities. But this route probably won't have a modern version, as it would be difficult, but not impossible, I think. So, I've put the honourable mentions on the same page because I'm kind of running out of time. But we do have the Northern Transpennine on there as a honourable mention because I want that route remastered. Same with Brighton Mainline and West Cornwall Local, because these are the three routes that really need it. So, here comes the final bit before the final thoughts. How much do I reckon they'd be? So, Newcastle to York and Middlesbrough, I'm keeping it to the same $32.99 because it's a large route. It covers a lot of areas and it also branches into the Tees Valley line. So, I think this pricing would be pretty much acceptable in a way. But then, you'd be buying the game, so you won't be facing those prices initially, I don't think. Unless, of course, you just want to buy the free starter pack if we get one, and then you can think about maybe buying whichever one you want. The Hope Valley line, I've put around about £30 because it's a medium to large route, depending on how many branch lines they add. Maybe 1, 2 or 3. And maybe the Buxton line as well. And of course the Cambridge line, $14.99 because it's a small to medium route. I don't expect that to go for really much. I might branch it to 20 though, but that's just my thoughts. It's not what they would think, if you get my meaning. Of course, the DLC Class 91 would be £15. Same with the 185. Although I'm thinking of bringing that down to $12.99 because obviously the 91, the 82 and the Mark IVs is a little bit longer and the Class 185 is only just 3 cars. So, but I thought I'd put them around the same price range because they're two of my favourite trains and a lot of people like these trains. Of course, the Class 379 at $12.99 or the Class 755 at $14.99. Because, well, obviously, I had to include them at some point. And it's because I would like to see a route in that region. Anyways, my final thoughts then. I can't wait for the Dovetail Direct. I believe it's going to be great. Hoping that one of my speculations does come true, and hoping that we do get at least one of the DLCs I mentioned come true. Dovetail Direct is going to be watched for definite. I will be in there, but I probably won't be chatting, and it will be interesting to see what happens. And preferably speaking, if we could stick with Train Sim 6 for another year, that would be great. But it's wishful thinking. Anyways, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Please do comment down below what you thought. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. Leave a like, and I will see you all in the next video. But until then, see you all later.